All right. Hello, everyone. This is Andres Diaz, or the Creator. This is Will, of course, my co-host. Today, we're going to discuss She-Hulk, uh, the series finale, and of course, we're going to discuss the first special presentation of was it Werewolf by Night? Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, such a weird title. Um,
Oh,
and it, um, you don't think so? Werewolf by Night.
no, I mean it definitely is, but that's the title of the comic it's based on. So
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, so what we're gonna plan here is we're gonna discuss the She-Hulk uh series first, and then afterwards we'll get through Werewolf by Night, which is good.
yeah.
Yep. So okay, let's get into She-Hulk. Straight away, Will. I gotta say, I think this was I mean, with the tone I have, I gotta say it was crazy. Like episode 8, amazing,
Hmm.
best episode of the series,
Yep.
and then the series finale overwhelming for me. So let's go through. What's your opinion overall with these last two episodes? Go ahead.
Yeah, I loved 8. I agree that it was my favorite episode.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I thought they had a lot of fun with like She-Hulk and Daredevil teaming up. Um, yeah, I thought they like did the character of Daredevil pretty well, like in terms of like adapting him to like a comedic tone, because obviously we're used to seeing him in like serious role, like a serious show.
Series, yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I enjoyed that one. Um, I liked the like leapfrog character. Thought he was funny.
yeah. Uh,
Um, yeah, and then episode 9 happened.
oh my god. Yeah, that's my overall opinion of that. Ugh, oh my god. Well,
Yeah,
let's stick with.
we'll do 8 first.
Yeah, let's do if 8 before we do episode 9. Yeah, so I agree. I mean, I say this is like the best episode for this series overall because of just of course, seeing again Daredevil again was just so exciting, and I think this episode did such a good job of integrating Matt into the MCU properly. Um, I think the overall storyline was great. I think especially not going too forward with episode 9. This I think felt complete Jane's arc. Uh, what was going on with the series, and I think putting her with Daredevil was so inspiring choice because I don't think these two characters have been put together in the comics. I don't think like one time in the new run. I think, but I really like the extent of the character development with Jane, with Matt, and
Hmm.
them probably being a couple. It's something I wasn't expecting, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's a inspiring choice, and I think both Tatiana and Charlie Cox, of course,
Hmm.
have great chemistry, and I think
Yeah.
I really want to see them again. I think that was the best aspect of this episode.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well. Um,
Yep.
yeah,
Uh,
they had great chemistry, good like banter.
oh my god. Yeah. I gotta say, I think it was I think what sealed it for me was like, okay, I didn't expect them gonna make out, and then afterwards we get the what is it, like the walk in shame,
Hmm.
and it was funny, and seeing the like pedestrian, seeing him walking with with his shoes, and I was just laughing so hard at that image. I was like, oh my god, this is one of the best episodes. But yeah, and I guess let's get into Matt because I think he's such an MVP of this episode. I
Hmm.
I mean, Charlie Cox is great as always as Daredevil, and I was so happy to see him again. And I think he just totally like just 100% was in the set being Matt Murdock slash Daredevil, and I think
Hmm.
it was great. I mean, especially the court scene when we see him for the first time, and just
Hmm.
him defending his client. Of course, the designer, whoever his name is, I'm
Yeah.
blanking. was like fantastic, and I thought his banter against Jennifer was really cool. And one of the things that I think really helped for this episode was seeing her going up against a nerd lawyer, but outshining her, which was we haven't seen yet in the show, and I think this episode really did it well. I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
because she this is like the first time she lost a case, basically, like because Matt won for the guy, and then
Yeah,
so yeah. So what do you think about the court scene overall for that?
yeah, it was pretty good. I, I I guess I liked Leapfrog being like a total like dirtbag, um, and being like the worst client ever. Um,
Yeah,
was fun.
y-
Yeah, a pretty easy case for Matt to win since
yeah,
Jade's client was lying to her, or like not
yeah,
telling her very important information.
yeah. I agree. Um, I think one thing that was I guess I want to bring up something that was brought up that was kind of interesting was the whole course appeal.
Hmm.
So the Sokovia Accords has pretty much got repealed, so it's no longer in effect. Um, what do you think about this, Will? Because that one was like, oh, okay, so we don't have it anymore,
Yeah.
and I like how the way Matt uses it. That like you are endangering the superhero identity and everyone that's involved with it.
Hmm.
So, um, but I was kind of surprised that it was going to be uh like like swift way like done that the Socorros are nine
Hmm.
active, which I guess it makes sense. We haven't like know if it was active after the snap, so I guess this was a
Right.
good way to address that.
To confirm that, yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah, confirm that. Yeah.
yeah. It
But
did feel
yeah, yeah.
pretty
So
like hand wavy, like they're just like they wanted to get that out of the way. Um,
yes,
but it
I
does feel
agree.
weird to like dismiss like what has been like a pretty influential part of like the history of the like MCU as like a
Hmm.
throwaway line in She-Hulk.
Yeah. I just wish we did more with that Sequoia Accords, but I
Yeah.
guess what else you can do with it? I mean, the government was pretty stupid because it was the thing that prevented like the Avengers to stop Thanos. Like it.
Right.
So what else you gonna do? Um, but yeah. So and I guess afterwards, I kind of appreciate that. Matt and Jane started to get along. Like I like that we didn't do like the typical rival thing with
Hmm.
the superheroes. I appreciate that we at least take our time. That he was like a friendly person,
Hmm.
and I liked the bar scene, and I thought that scene was great. Like we saw a clip of him, saying that she has the potential to be good, and what she's doing is great
Hmm.
as a person, half lawyer slash superhero. And I love that whole scene. That was why way I started to like them as a duo.
Hmm.
It, and I was like, oh my god, this I never expected that.
Hmm.
Because we haven't put Jane in any like platonic relationship, and so when you're with someone we knew like Daredevil, and I felt like it was great because we all knew that what was it that Josh guy was evil, so like that
Right.
wasn't gonna work out. So I think being putting her with Daredevil, I think was a great choice, and I think I'm very hopeful to see them together. And I think it has been confirmed that she's gonna be maybe back, not only in New World Order, but also maybe Born Again
Oh,
for
okay.
Dare. So I think that makes a lot of sense because if
Hmm.
we're going to continue this like platonic relationship, I think it makes sense because we really don't know what's going on with the other Daredevil related characters, really.
Right.
So, I guess and then one thing that I think this episode did very well was reintroducing Daredevil's universe and everything we know about him. Like, I like how Matt does a really good job of saying like he's like a people's lawyer, like he's the people
Hmm.
man, and and we got a mention of Hell Kitchen. Yeah, Hell Kitchen, his firm, and I think it was really good, and it makes sense why he was over here, and I think L.A. We're in the show.
Yeah,
We're in
yeah.
okay. I wasn't. I totally forgot we're in L.A. I thought we were in California or something like that. I don't know. So it makes sense he's over here to do represent the designer. And I gotta say the costume was great. Let's get into that. I think. What's your opinion overall with Daredevil suit in this show? You liked it?
Uh, it it looks like it's a suit that they were going for.
Yeah.
I don't like that suit, but it
Oh,
they did
really?
they did a good job of translating it to the screen.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
I.
yeah. My only criticisms of it are actually criticisms of like the original design.
Oh, yeah. Uh, yeah. I. I just wish we. I think one of the difficult things for Daredevil is like, first off, the red because his costume is full red. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, and then also like for me, I. I'm, I'm, this is why I'm excited for Daredevil Born Again because we're gonna get the two Ds finally,
Mm-hmm.
and I want it to be straight in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, let's face it, the Ben Affleck one was okay. It was just small, which I never understood that. And then, um, and of course, the Netflix show didn't really attend to that, which it makes sense because they were trying to be realistic, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I was fine with that. I will agree that on the horns in his forehead, like
Mm-hmm.
it prunes. I think it needs to be more pronounced, and I think this was the closest that looked good. Um, I just wish that was more pronounced, but overall, I'm really dug in this suit. I mean, obviously, it's from the comics. I really like the golden, the yellow and red.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, really? So
I
you
think it's
like?
really ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
It
like
looks
the normal, like all
normal.
red one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, I
Or I really liked the suit from um, the Netflix show.
mm, yeah. The black suit, I guess,
No,
or
like the
this
the one that he put on in the finale of season
mm,
one, and then more for season two.
right. Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah. Oh man, I guess. Yeah, I guess the coloring is kind of a little mustard. It looks better in the poster for some reason. I will
Mm.
give you to that. Like I think the colors more pop in the poster.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, this could be a good way to change the suit overall in the coming years when we're
Hmm.
going to see again Charlie. So this is going to be temporary, really,
Yeah,
because I mean,
I.
Mark,
I'm,
you, you know, you know what I mean? Because
mhm.
we're not going to stick with this costume. I mean, every movie they literally change the costume. I I I
Yeah,
think
I'm hoping that for his show they switch back to like a more traditional.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I and then we of course let's kind of piggyback to She-Hulk. I
Hmm.
dug her suit here. It's
Okay.
definitely, I mean, straight from the Dan Slott run. Not like true, like it's not too sexy, but like it's functional, which is good.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I gotta say the purple looks good on her. And I guess I mean I at least I picked the suits or superhero suits, so I kind of
Hmm.
like that. And Leapfrog is looks good too. I think
Hmm.
it looked kind of what you can probably see in the MCU, so I think that was good design.
Hmm.
Uh, and let's get into Leapfrog. I think that would be a good way to change the subject with the suits. I really like Leapfrog. I think they did a good job of making him be this like C-list, like has been supervillain.
Hmm.
Like I think this character really embodies that so well from the comic books.
Hmm.
When you see not like the A-list villains, like this is how like a kite man slash killer
Yeah,
moth.
yeah, it
It's
definitely gave me Kite Man vibes.
yeah.
Um,
Oh my god, it was just I appreciate how how we explain the henchman,
mhm.
like how he employs the henchman is like
Just like his dad was paying their salaries, right?
yeah,
That was so
that's
good.
yeah, and I love that he went all the way for his gimmick of leapfrogs, like
Hmm.
the arcade of like
He had Frogger, yeah.
Frogger. Oh my god, it was just amazing, spectacular, and just
Hmm.
a wonderful treat for this character. And yeah, it was fun to have that because we don't get that. I don't because when we get to episode 9, I gotta say it was weird to have Tatiana in the show because we
Hmm.
like this felt like a more superhero episode. Like and I will say I wish we had more of this format with this show throughout the
Hmm.
series
Hmm.
than just throwing the comedy sitcom, then like flipping over the superhero stuff. I feel like this is the episode. I feel like it balanced all that better
Hmm.
than some of the episodes we had so far in
Yeah.
this series. Um, because I don't know. It was tough. And then what else we have to mention in episode 8? I'm trying to think.
I
Um,
guess there was the reveal at the end about Josh.
oh yes. Oh or the intelligence. The
Right, intelligence. Yeah.
yeah the group they of course like cause well I guess they frame not frame I guess they like provoke She-Hulk
Hmm.
and to like kind of rage out and then cause a whole hysteria. And I that was another great moment. Like I really liked that, and like we were like, oh my god, we're heading into a really good finale because I really like this breaking the fourth wall where she looked towards the camera and she didn't say anything because she knew she
Hmm.
was like completely effed up after that moment, and
Yeah.
I was just so excited. And then, of course, I was crashed down. And the trains crashed down after
Yeah.
seeing every single episode. Yeah, and it was cool to see her parents again. I gotta say, another MVP was the parents. I love
Hmm.
them, and I thought that it was great to see them again. And seeing all the cast members for the show in terms of the lawyer, the firm was great to see them together. Uh, but yeah, I have nothing else to say about episode 8. Is there any else you want to mention for episode 8? Um,
Um.
let me
Hmm.
take a look at my notes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah. Leapfrog, and there was something here. What else? Uh, oh, weird tidbit. Todd has like a Wakanda war spear.
Oh yeah.
Apparently. Uh, okay. Oh, and when they were talking, when Daredevil and She-Hulk were talking, the classic theme from Daredevil's tune came up.
Hmm. Yep.
Uh, that was something. When I rewatched it again, I thought that was actually kind of cool to do that.
Yeah, I liked that. Um, I mean, I love that theme, so
Oh
it's nice to hear
yes,
it again.
yeah, and then of course now I remember. We cannot talk about the hallway scene. Like it's
Yeah, I they had him fight in the hallway, and then it wasn't in one take. I was a little disappointed.
yeah. Well, I don't I
No,
yeah, but
it was a good fight scene. I just like
yeah.
it was
No,
like a thing where he would always do like a
yeah,
one take fight scene in a hallway.
yeah. And yeah. I can understand it was disappointing not to have a proper one, but oh my god, it was funny how just just Jane just completely knocked down all the henchmen, like
Hmm.
just in one swoop. I felt the comedic timing of that was so done so
Hmm.
well. So and I really love that we kind of like done like Old Boy or like the Ryan Gosling film Only God Forgives. Like the color scheme of the hallway fights have
Hmm.
been different. Like the first one in season one was I think green, and
Hmm.
then was it the second season was red, I think. Yeah. And then third, of course, in the prison was Lelo, and then I like how this was blue. So I kind of like the like inconvenient. I don't know if
Hmm.
this was intentional, but I love how we separate each of these hallway scenes. I'm excited for the next one in his show. Like
Yeah.
eventually it'll be what like purple, and oh my god, we're gonna have a rainbow hallway scene saga. um, and that's it. I think that's all I have in my notes for episode 8.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall great episode. Uh, I mean, nothing else from us about that. But now let's get into episode 9. Uh,
Hmm.
oh my god, I don't know. I'm really excited to talk about this. But okay, let me say it. I think what we got from the beginning, I thought it was a good like what 20-30 minute opener for episode
Hmm.
9, and I thought it was really neat. I really appreciate the more dramatic sequences
Hmm.
of that episode until I think when we got into the like the whole group thing,
Hmm.
and then like everyone came in, which I was like excited, and then when Jane did her breaking the wall, that was where it went downhill for me. So
Yeah. I think for me it went downhill like a little before that, but we'll talk about it.
okay, well, I I guess well when they meet Kevin, the AI
Oh
Kevin,
god. Yeah.
that was where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I like the X-Men line, but I didn't like that was where it went down for me for that moment. Like,
Yeah. It had already gone downhill for me by then, but that
oh
was
wow,
definitely a bad moment. I
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, oh boy, yeah, I I don't know where to go because it was like eh, I I I guess that was I. Let's get into my problem. I guess
Hmm.
my big issue was the intelligence reveal.
Yeah.
I That was so disappointing for me. Like I was hoping for a much bigger like
Yeah.
a,
It was incredibly predictable.
yeah. Well, it was
And like,
totally one left
yeah.
field for me. Like it wasn't.
Okay.
I
I I don't know. They had definitely set up in episode 8 that it was going to be Todd or whatever.
really, huh?
Um, yeah. But it was, I don't know. She like breaks the fourth wall and then goes into the writer's room and is like
Yeah,
chastising them for writing a bad ending. And like that ending was bad. It was very bad. It was like everything wrong with the MCU. So like valid to make that criticism, but then they don't
yeah,
do anything to like actually change it.
yeah,
Like she's like, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. They don't like show an actual ending. They just kind of like skip the ending and go to the like
the aftermath.
the yeah the aftermath, like the closing. So like in effect, you still just had that um bad ending. You just kind of like winked at the camera and said like, "Oh, isn't this bad?" And that's
Yeah,
all you did is like point out how bad it was. Um, like they didn't. There were other steps they needed to do in order to like justify the lamp shading of like how cliche and bad their story was for the season,
yeah.
and they didn't do those. So they just did the bad thing and pointed out that they did the bad thing. And, like, wink to the camera. Like, aren't we clever for pointing out how bad this is? Um,
Yeah.
I, and just everything with her, like, talking to the writers and to Kevin just felt so, like, self-indulgent and,
Hmm.
like, so far, like, in its own world that, like, and none of that felt earned.
Yeah.
Like, I get that she's like a character that breaks the fourth wall all the time, but they really have not used it that much in the show. Like,
No.
they barely used it. And then they, like, to go that meta with it after not really using it for 8 episodes is, like,
Yeah.
too much, too fast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then they, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I feel like they like this whole series did a good, like they had a good consistent breaking the fourth wall, and then going for like into Deadpool territory just felt really out of this place with the show. And and my biggest problem really is that we really completely throw out Jane's arc for this whole series
mm-hmm,
that I did not like. Like we're heading into this like position of her like learning to like accept her persona as She-Hulk and being a hero
mm-hmm,
simultaneously as a lawyer. Like that's one reason I like episode 8 was that she come to that like senses
mm-hmm,
with Daredevil, and then having this episode to not fulfill it and just focus on the comedy and the the overall criticism of series finales or in general Marvel formula and
mm-hmm.
all that just like shouldn't have been the focus of it. Really,
Yeah, yeah,
I so that's my biggest issue because now it's kind of like whoa I don't know I feel like they have if we're ever going to have a second season they need to rebrand the series from being a sitcom because I guess for me I think I think the weakest part of the show was the sitcom format. I feel
mm-hmm.
like there were times that it worked, but then there was other times that it didn't make sense with the show. So
Yeah. It worked best when it was like just being when it like fully leaned into one thing or the other, like either being a superhero thing or being a sitcom.
yeah,
And whenever it tried to do both, it just fell on its face.
yeah, um, yeah, it did. Um, I think that like you know what was weird? I I liked all 8 episodes except for this, because at least all the 8 episodes make sense with the sitcom format. But I felt there was others that I didn't care for because of like it just felt filler, and
Mm-hmm.
then this one I was really did not like it because we just threw out Jane's arc and we just didn't wrap a lot of storylines and expectations of the things they were setting up that was just not great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean like I'm surprised you mentioned that like it was kind of obvious that well, Todd was going to be the leader of the intelligence, which I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get that. I guess because I was blinded with the because this show out of the MCU shows like it's fully connected to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like
I
I
should like it wasn't obvious to me until episode 8, I think. But
well where in the moment you think it was true like where did that moment tell you that Todd was going to be the leader like
when he was present at the end of episode 8, and like
yes
they they like released the like illegal like the
the
um
footage or
yeah,
Jane's
I'm
personal
trying to think of the
her social media
no, it
um
was they had like illegally filmed her. I'm
mhm,
trying to think what the term is.
yeah I I remember what they stated. I don't know. It was like footage uh or something like that. I got
Yeah.
maybe we'll find out later. But yeah. I no that makes kind of sense. Let's get into Todd. I mean, I I was I'm fine seeing other Hulk characters like similar villains like Bizarro
Oh,
or General Zod or like
yeah.
the Reverse Flash, and then I'm fine having another Hulk villain like a Muscle, and I thought we are gonna get Mastro or some other Hulk villain we haven't had in the show. Seeing Todd becoming the Hulk was just so silly, and
Mm-hmm.
it could have been good, but because we just completely just didn't went all the way and just and like completely dropped the whole super soldier copy of it immediately
Mm-hmm.
after Kevin. It was like, really? I don't know. I just thought it was just silly. Um,
Yeah.
I,
I don't like
uh,
they. There's like a version of that where it works. I think
yeah.
there's a version of it, and I think I've said this about like everything in Phase Four. That there's a
Hmm.
version of it where it works, but
Yeah.
there's a version of this where like she goes and she talks to the writers, and you don't do the Kevin bit because that's so self indulgent and bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she talks to the writers, and she's like, "This is overdone. Like it's cliche. I'm tired of
Hmm.
seeing it. Can we just do something that's like
Yeah.
a little different?" And then they like go back and he like tries to inject himself with the Hulk stuff, but this time like nothing happens. And then
Yeah.
she just like beats them up and they get
Yeah.
arrested. Like I
Yeah.
think that would have been like a fun like a good like subversion of it
Hmm.
without it being like um I don't know, it just felt weird that they like changed it, but then they didn't show like the actual change.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Well, and they just left it there, not answering what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did Tom? Like Tom looked normal with his clothes. Well, I mean, he didn't went too big to rip his clothes and all that,
Mm-hmm.
like traditional Hulks. Um. Oh, like you have to answer like how he reverted back. Like you cannot just leave
Yeah,
it
I
like
can't remember if they just like retconned the whole like blood plot line, so he just never got her blood, or like, or what?
I mean, she literally talked to the mastermind of this whole thing of
Yeah,
MCU,
yeah.
and then
They made a bunch of changes,
yeah,
and I
like
can't remember what they did about the blood. If they just like didn't have him injected, or if he didn't take it in the first place. But
yeah, I think they say drop the bloodline storyline
mm-hmm.
because that's like another thing that's been tropey,
Mm-hmm.
like Star Trek into Darkness, and then of course. The year after that, Amazing Spider-Man 2 did it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god! And then what else? Like, I guess Batman v Superman with Lex Blood with Crane Doomsday. It's. I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I it, the blood thing made more sense with the Hulk because because that's how it affected the Abomination, and then that's how you get affected. Like, that's how Jen got into the Hulk thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's really bizarre. I guess I want to get into this other thing that they completely bring in, and I don't know what's going on with this, but then we got the whole comeback, which I was like, yeah, of course. Like was hoping to see Bruce again, and then we, we get him to have his son.
I forgot they did that until just now. Yeah.
It,
Oh.
oh my god! And then now even that is so weird because we really don't know what's going on with the Hulk and his whole freaking rights thing. And now you
Mm-hmm.
bring this other thing that we don't even know we're gonna pay it off. Either a Hulk movie or whatever Disney Plus slash Marvel related thing. It's just like, why do that?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
I just didn't get it. And then another thing, I was so disappointed was the Abomination arc. Like, well, I mean, it was weird. Like we, of course, he like. I kind of wish that Jane defended Abomination more and say like 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 we have one scene again with the parole um group and
Hmm.
say no, he helped me to defend to defeat Tan, and like he was free again, and like but instead we went with the
Well,
jokies.
he was still violating his parole by turning into the abomination and doing the like speaking engagements.
Yeah,
But
well, yeah. um I just think you can done like you say like they could have done or like there's a story there for
mhm,
me that Jane, like, yes, the abomination is, or Blanksy is a very unethical person, or he isn't a villain that I think Jane is like everyone is thinking of, and
mhm,
Jane sees that he's really is trying to be a good person and trying to be, not
yeah,
a monster as many people view him to be. And I
right.
feel like there's a story there, and they just didn't took that opportunity. It just made it awkward. And then I do like the one post credit scene.
Hmm.
It's funny that he just literally made Abomination to escape his prison. Uh, I gotta say, I don't know. I mean, superhero shows don't do well with illegal and ethical uh, boundaries, and so I mean, so Abomination is free now.
Hmm.
So we'll see. But yeah, and then what else? Oh, I guess I will say one good thing. I do like still the supporting characters. I really love Pug. I think
Hmm.
Pug is great.
Yeah.
Uh, I really like he was very uncomfortable of what he was doing.
Hmm.
The whole like putting the earpod, like him questioning like does everyone can see that it's kind of true. Like how no one gonna see that when you're like undercover, you know? I mean sometimes they're smaller,
Yeah, I mean, they might just not
you know.
think anything of it because
Yeah,
some people
exactly.
just wear AirPods all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, no, I thought it made a lot of sense.
yeah, and then of course, Nikki having trouble with the internet connection, like
Hmm.
the
Yeah, it was
Wi-Fi.
a fun spoof of like the general like superhero or spy thing where their earpieces are magic and they just work perfectly all the time. But
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
has them and they're invisible.
yes,
But
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. I still love those two characters, and I really appreciate that they were very supportive of Jan and the
mhm.
parents. I mean, the parents were great. I
They
love.
were really, yeah.
Oh my god, the dad. I love him, and I love how he defended her daughter against those people.
With the hose, yeah.
Yes, and then afterwards he said like, "Oh, this is like a high pressure, whatever." And then like he just squirts again. I was-
Hmm.
oh my god, it's just so funny, and yeah, and that was the part that I was really into. Like I was sad for Jane to lose her apartment and again her job, and
Hmm.
and then it's just not have a satisfy like resolution of it
Hmm.
just made me angry. No pun intended, but you know, I can't believe it did that. So okay, so let's get into Kevin the whole meta thing because I know people will be probably confused what we were talking about. So when everything comes to like kind of like what a conclusion or a conclusion into that barn, whatever they're at the seminar, where every major recurring villain or character we see in the show has like just randomly pop up.
Hmm.
Like Abomination is there, Tan's there, then Titania came in, and then Hulk just randomly just jumped in, tried to defend her, and then of course get it breaking for a wall, and then it just completely stops. I think, and then uh Jane say, oh, "Okay, this is I don't know what she say. Like it was just too much, and this is how we're going." to
Mm-hmm.
this. We're going down to this path, and then we have. It is funny, like her just like coming out from the Disney Plus screen that
Mm-hmm.
that you usually see, and it's her jumping in, and then I guess that's how she got into the office, and it was funny interaction with the writers. I remember, and then of course this is where we get into Kevin. Uh, Apparently Kevin is not a human. This is a AI, and then we see his this like basically white room, and there's cool things like I don't know, you see there's like a bracket of comic books, and one cover has the Daredevil and She-Hulk from Dan Slott. Like that was a cool nod to that, and then there's like a couple there like she Scarlet Witch and all run, like that was a cool nod. But this was just going too far for me. Uh, like I do like the line. What about the X-Men? Like like
Mm-hmm.
that's literally us every day. Like yeah, I like that line. Um, but yeah, then she just starts talking. Okay, this is too formulaic and blah blah blah. It's just it was just so uninteresting for me at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
then and it was kind of like you were saying for it. It was like they're being clever for this bad finale, which I I don't think it was a bad finale. Like seeing all those characters in this like crazy like commotion, like we don't see that at all in any of the MCU films. Like you know, it was not gonna be this like sky beam thing like WandaVision
Mm-hmm.
or you know the other finales. I enjoyed the finales of each show. They're not my favorite, but like I enjoy it because they have action pack. They resolve the plot points of what they had in their series. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this didn't do that. Like what you're talking about, you have a bad finale. This is literally a bad finale because you didn't commit to your whole series of what you set up, and then
Mm-hmm.
what should pay off,
Right.
and that's just freaking annoys
Yeah.
me. It's
It's
like
they wrote a bad finale and then tried to get out of it by pointing out that it was bad without actually like doing the work to then change it and make it good.
yeah, just it's like and a question like let's have this discussion. Like I get people are frustrated with the Phase 4, but I have not like the series finales are not bad. Like there's one or two that
Uh,
are not successful. You know,
I don't know. I
what do you
like
think?
I the only one I've liked is Loki.
Oh, I mean, okay. Well, that's well. Oh,
And even that one, like other people didn't like.
yeah. I guess what made it better now is because we're gonna get Kane again, and we know
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna be
mean, we
amazing.
knew we were gonna do that before, but
Yeah. Well, I didn't know because of the whole Bethesda but debacle. Like I couldn't trust that show to land that, but they did. So
mm-hmm.
okay. Well, okay. I guess going into the end of the year, I will say that I actually really enjoy Moon Knight. Uh, and
I enjoyed it as well. But again, the finale, they kind of they didn't stick the landing.
yeah,
They had the weird like cop out where um, Mark and Steven like blacked out, and they skipped the entire like final fight scene.
yeah,
Like,
but
I like the finale. I think was the weakest part of that show.
yeah, but I it fits with the character and what because it we I don't
It
det-
feels like a cop out.
yeah I can understand but I will defend that show over this show really because
Oh, I
I
liked it more
just
than this one,
mm, oh
but
yeah oh, I don't know
but yeah.
yeah yeah oh my god I can't believe we're halfway through this year and then uh and this what we get with Phase 4 um
Mhm.
oh boy god thank oh my god, like 4 more weeks until Black Panther, and
Hmm.
then we'll unite as a family. After this, oh my god, just I think the more like half controversial slash mix phase 4, because the beginning of phase 4 was at least strong. Like not.
Uh,
I mean,
I mean, WandaVision was strong
yeah. I
until
mean,
the finale.
yeah, and I'm saying more like general conversation. Like I think
Hmm. Yeah,
WandaVision,
people were
Loki,
on board.
yeah, and Loki, they were on board.
Hmm.
Shang-Chi, everyone was on board, and then Spider-Man: No Way Home on board, and then the misses were like what, like one, two, three, three with Falcon and Black Widow, and then Internals.
Hmm.
This year is just like I only feel like one has been successful, and that's Moonlight.
Yes,
And
I would agree.
yeah, and I will 100, well, and I think it'll be a good time to wrap up episode 9. Because I gotta say, the second best for this year is obviously Werewolf by Night. I think is
Yes.
I amazing. I think that's this one is successful for 2022, and
Hmm.
I don't think She-Hulk is really successful. Which is a shame, because I like where we're doing with She-Hulk. They had 9 episodes. That was good,
Hmm.
just like WandaVision. But just like WandaVision, they didn't stick the landing,
Hmm.
and that's annoying. It's like
Yeah.
it's just I just don't understand. Like, at least I understood why we did it with WandaVision. At least like it was bad, but like I understood where they were trying to do. This I just don't understand what the showrunners were trying to do with
Hmm.
this whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, overall, let's kind of wrap this up. What's your general thoughts for the show, as in general? Like, it's a low
Well,
tier
yeah,
Disney
I would
Plus.
say low tier. Yeah, it was very messy. Um, there were good parts.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put it in what if territory, but
Oh yeah.
it's
No,
not
no,
high.
no. It's not
Yeah.
high. Yeah. Yeah. I had to agree with you. I think this is low tier, but not as bad as like What If or Falcon for me. Uh,
Okay, I think
you probably put this like
I'd probably put Falcon above it.
okay. Um, I I I think I enjoyed this more because, well, I enjoy it at least because we got more MCU connections, which was fine. At least I was happy to see One again,
Hmm.
and Abomination, and then seeing Daredevil again. Like, I liked those moments. Those were my favorite things about the show, was seeing the actual MCU connections, being part
Hmm.
of a story that we like we're maybe not gonna see, maybe potentially spawn out to something else. I
Hmm.
was Those were my favorites. I think the trial of Emil Blancy, the magician episode, and then the Daredevil episode were the best. Now, outside of that, I felt that the sitcom thing just was not meshing. Like, it,
Hmm.
I feel like, because I look, the showrunners did not expect a lot of criticism about the Marvel formula, the comedy thing, like, especially because this was coming out of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Hmm.
So a lot of role adding things of just having the show be a sitcom, where I think people have been frustrated because this Phase 4 has been too jokey. Like, well, it's just the tone of some of these films and television are way off the charts
Hmm.
completely, and just like, you need balance, and I think this show struggled to balance the sitcom and genuine character development they're trying to do,
Hmm.
that they literally cheated and slash destroy it by the end of the series. And I will say I am very disappointed. I think they did a good job of introducing this character, She-Hulk,
Hmm.
to the white audience, and I think I think more improvements they need to do with this character and this show if they're gonna get renewed again.
Mhm.
So, which I don't know if they're gonna be renewed, but we'll see. So, but any more thoughts, Will, on this show? I mean, I I guess we don't need to talk too much about the other things like the son of Hulk and all that.
Yeah,
So
we can talk about it some other time, I guess.
yeah, yeah. If they bring something to it, and we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's. So yeah, it was a fun time. Yeah, it was. It's sad. This is gonna be our last Disney Plus show until. Oh my God, Secret Invasion next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. So this was a fun show. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna just move on. I mean, I'm currently watching the X-Men '90 show
Yeah.
for a retrospective review, and my God, I've been enjoying that. It's still has its charm as I remember as a kid, and
Good.
so yeah, and if you don't like the X-Men live action films, like this show will give you what they've been missing.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah. Last episode I stopped was the Shadow King episode. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and that was good. I love Shadow King. He's one of my other favorite X Men villains. But yeah, yeah. So